My name is Bradley Bond. I'm an associate professor of communication studies, and I study our parasocial relationships to fictional characters and celebrities. So at the beginning of the pandemic, when governments and popular press and pundits on popular press were talking about social distancing and isolation and the need to stay away from other people, I was really interested in how that was influencing our relationships. Both our relationships with our peers, with our friends, and our relationships with media characters. Because data suggests, and I think it's logical, that when we spent more time in our home, we spent significantly more time with screen media. We've long believed that your media relationships supplement your real life relationships. So research suggests people who are really good at making friends are also really good at making friends with television characters. This was one of the first studies to suggest that there might actually be this compensatory type of role where when we don't have strong connections to our real life friends, or when those are hindered in some way, we might actually be replacing them with our favorite characters and celebrities in ways that previous research hasn't found. So I conducted this study looking at how people develop their relationships with fictional characters and celebrities, as well as how they maintain their relationships with their friends over the course of the pandemic. So we collected data 4 separate times, 2 weeks apart, from April of 2020 until June of 2020. Results suggest that we were able to maintain our social relationships, which makes sense. Our social bonds are strong enough to kind of outlast the difficulties and obstacles involved in social distancing, but that our relationships with characters and celebrities grew significantly. And they grew the most among people who spent less time with their friends in face-to-face situations. But parasocial relationships with favorite characters and celebrities also grew significantly among individuals who spent more time with their friends on screens. And so the argument that I was making is that the more time that we start to spend with our real-life friends on Snapchat and TikTok and Marco Polo and these apps that we're using to keep in touch with people, the less we are able to distinguish between our real life friends and our friends that we only know through television. Because now we're spending all of our time with real life friends on screens as well. I would argue that there are several reasons why we would be interested in this topic. First and foremost, because our social relationships and our feelings of being connected to others is absolutely related to well-being. That people who feel like they have social support, people who feel like they have a sense of connection and community to others, tend to have higher self-esteem. They tend to be able to overcome conflict better. They have higher levels of empathy. So there are relationships between our perceived social network and our well-being. And then ultimately, the other reason I would argue this is important is because we learn from our friends. We learn social norms from our friends. We learn behavioral norms from our friends. So if we see our favorite television characters or our favorite celebrities as friends, then subconsciously we're more likely to imitate them, we're more likely to learn from them, which could have negative effects, but also could have positive effects if we think about implementing health campaigns through celebrities, or implementing pro-social campaigns in some way, shape, or form on entertainment television. And so there's a belief that understanding these connections can help us better think about ways to increase the efficacy of positive messages through entertainment media. You can find the 2 studies on parasocial relationships during the COVID-19 pandemic in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships and the journal Psychology of Popular Media.